You wake up every morning, open your phone, scroll through meaningless garbage, and tell yourself, it's fine. Everything's fine. But deep down, you know it's not. You know something inside you is screaming for change. You know your life isn't where you want it to be. You know you're stuck. Yet you put on that fake smile, walk through the same boring routine, and pretend it's all okay. Let me tell you something, pretending everything's fine is the biggest reason your life still sucks. Because until you admit it's broken, you'll never fix it. People love to lie to themselves. They'll say, I'm just going through a phase, or I'll start next week, or I just need a bit more motivation. No, you don't need motivation, you need honesty. Brutal, painful honesty. You need to look in the mirror and say, I'm not where I want to be because I've accepted mediocrity. That's the truth most people can't handle. They'd rather scroll through TikTok, watch someone else live their dream, and whisper, maybe one day, one day. What if that day never comes because you never stop pretending everything's okay? You see, the world rewards delusion. It tells you to love yourself as you are, even if who you are right now is weak, undisciplined, and lazy. The truth is, loving yourself means demanding better from yourself. It means being honest enough to admit that your habits, your mindset, your excuses, they all suck. And they're the reason you're stuck. You want to be fit, but you eat garbage. You want success, but you sleep in. You want respect, but you don't respect yourself enough to keep a promise you made to yourself. You've built a fake world of, I'm fine. Because it's easier than admitting the truth, the first step to changing your life is tearing down that illusion. Stop pretending you're doing okay when you're not. Stop telling people you're busy when you're just distracted. Stop saying you don't have time when what you really don't have is urgency. Every day you waste pretending is a day someone else is using to outwork you, outgrow you, and outperform you. And that's the reality nobody wants to face. The competition doesn't care about your excuses. Life doesn't pause because you're tired. It keeps moving. The world keeps spinning. And you're standing still because you're afraid to admit that you've fallen behind. Let's be real. You know exactly what's wrong. You know what needs to change. But instead of confronting it, you hide behind comfort. You avoid the mirror. You numb your pain with entertainment, with food, with distractions. You keep saying, it's not that bad, but deep inside you know it is. You feel it every time you go to bed unfulfilled. You feel it when you see someone doing what you dream of doing. You feel it when you catch yourself thinking, why not me? The answer is simple, because you won't face the truth. You're living a lie, and that lie is killing your potential. The truth hurts. It should. Pain is the only thing that wakes people up. Pain is the signal that tells you something's wrong. And instead of using that pain as fuel, you keep covering it up. You keep acting like it's all fine, hoping somehow things will magically fix themselves. They won't. Nothing changes until you decide to stop lying to yourself. You've got to reach a point where pretending feels more painful than facing the truth. Because that's when transformation starts. That's when you start breaking out of the illusion. So stop smiling through your misery. Stop acting like you've got it all together when your life is falling apart. Face it, admit it, feel it. That's not weakness, that's power. Because the moment you're honest with yourself, you take back control. You can't fix what you refuse to face. And you'll never grow by pretending you're already okay. Real change starts the day you look at your reflection and say, I'm not fine, but I will be, because now I'm done lying to myself. Most people are terrified of anger. They think it's something to avoid, something dangerous, something negative. But let me tell you the truth, anger is not your enemy. Anger is energy. It's the most powerful fuel you've got inside you, but only if you learn to control it. The problem is, most of you don't control your anger controls you. You explode when someone insults you. You argue over nonsense. You let small things break your focus. That's weak. Real power comes when you take that same fire, that same rage, and aim it at something that matters. Because when you channel anger with purpose, it becomes your greatest weapon. You've been told all your life to calm down, to let things go, to be nice. And what did that get? You became soft. You stopped fighting. You let people walk all over you. You let life punch you in the face, and you smiled through it like a clown because you thought being angry made you wrong. No, being angry means you care. It means something inside you refuses to settle. It means you recognize that you deserve more, that you're capable of more, and that the current version of your life is unacceptable. That emotion, that fire in your chest, that's the beginning of change. When your life sucks, you've got two options. You can feel sorry for yourself, or you can get mad about it. Get mad that you've wasted time. Get mad that you broke promises to yourself. Get mad that you've allowed weakness to take over your life. That anger, when you control it, becomes unstoppable drive. It pushes you to wake up earlier, work harder, train longer, think sharper. Anger is the voice inside you saying, I'm better than this. But the difference between losers and winners is that winners channel that emotion into action. Losers waste it yelling at people. Winners use it to build empires. Look at every person who's ever achieved greatness. They weren't calm and comfortable. They were obsessed. They were angry at their situation, angry at their limits, angry at the thought of living an average life. That's what pushed them to rise above the crowd. But here's the key. They didn't let that anger destroy them. They harnessed it. They took that chaos and shaped it into discipline. And that's what you need to learn. Controlled anger is pure focus. It burns through excuses, fear, and doubt. When you're angry enough to change, failure becomes irrelevant because you refuse to stop until you win. But here's the truth. Most people never reach that point because they've been taught to suppress their emotions. They live numb. They hide their frustration under fake positivity. They say, it's fine, when they're dying inside. Stop doing that. Feel your anger. Let it remind you that you're not satisfied. Let it wake you up, but don't let it control you. Direct it like a laser toward the gym, toward your goals, toward your work, toward becoming the person you're supposed to be. Because anger, when guided, becomes focus. And focus changes everything. You want to know why most people never improve. Because they're too comfortable being calm about losing. They can fail 100 times and just shrug it off. That's not peace, that's apathy. When I lose, I don't sleep. I don't smile. I get mad. I feel that burn in my stomach, that deep frustration, and I use it. I take it with me to the gym, to the office, to every single moment until I turn it into victory. That's how you turn pain into power. That's how you turn weakness into strength. Don't fear your anger, master it. The moment you feel that spark, don't waste it shouting or complaining. That energy is sacred. Use it to prove a point. Use it to change your body, your mindset, your finances, your entire life. Because when you learn to control your anger, it becomes your engine. It becomes your motivation when you're tired, your courage when you're scared, your discipline when you're lazy. Anger is power, and when you own it, truly own it, you become untouchable. You ever wonder why your life feels stuck? Why it feels like nothing exciting ever happens? Why every day feels like a replay of the last one? It's because you've built yourself a nice, comfortable little prison. You call it your comfort zone. You decorate it with excuses, soft routines, and empty pleasures, and then you sit there wondering why success never knocks on your door. It doesn't knock because success doesn't live there. Success lives on the other side of discomfort, and most people never make it past the door because comfort has them chained down like slaves who love their own captivity. You think comfort means peace, but it actually means decay. The moment you stop challenging yourself, you start dying, not physically, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally. The muscles of your willpower begin to weaken, your hunger fades, and your drive disappears. Every time you choose easy over hard, you teach your mind to quit. You teach yourself that mediocrity is acceptable. And the scariest part is you start to enjoy it. You convince yourself that you're happy just because you don't feel pain anymore. But that's not happiness, that's numbness. And numbness is the death of potential. Every person you admire, every winner, every leader, every millionaire, every athlete, they all understand one thing: comfort is the enemy. You can't grow where it's safe. You can't evolve where it's easy. You can't find your power when you're busy protecting your convenience. Comfort is the drug that keeps people average. It gives you just enough satisfaction to keep you from chasing more. It's like a silent killer whispering, "You're fine, you've done enough." And you believe it because it feels good. But every second you choose to stay comfortable, someone else out there is embracing pain, pushing limits, and leaving you behind. Think about your daily routine. You wake up late, scroll for an hour, eat whatever's easy, complain about your job, dream about change, and then go to bed doing nothing different. That's comfort. That's your prison cell. You're comfortable with your own chains because they don't hurt yet. But one day they will. One day you'll wake up and realize that all the time you wasted avoiding discomfort could have been the time you built something extraordinary. You'll realize that every opportunity you missed didn't disappear, you just refused to step out and grab it. Because leaving comfort feels scary. But that fear, that's the path to freedom. Pain is a teacher. Discomfort is a guide. The people who grow are the ones who chase both. They look for struggle. They invite difficulty. They understand that pressure creates diamonds. You don't become strong in the gym by lifting light weights. You don't become wise by avoiding mistakes. You don't become successful by staying comfortable. You grow by putting yourself in situations that test you, that stretch you, that break you, and then rebuilding yourself stronger. That's how evolution happens. But you can't evolve if you refuse to step into the unknown. Look around at society. Everything is built to make you comfortable. Food delivered to your door, entertainment on demand, a phone that gives you validation in seconds. It's all designed to keep you weak, distracted, and satisfied with doing nothing. You're surrounded by traps disguised as comfort, and the longer you stay in them, the harder it becomes to break out. Because the more comfortable you get, the less hunger you have. And when you lose hunger, you lose everything. So if your life sucks, maybe it's not because the world is unfair. Maybe it's because you've chosen comfort over challenge for too long. You stop doing what scares you. You stop chasing risk. You stop stepping into places that make you feel alive. Growth lives in pain, in struggle, in uncertainty. That's where your next level waits. That's where your real potential hides. Every great transformation starts with discomfort. That's the price of becoming unstoppable. Comfort keeps you soft. Discomfort builds warriors. And the truth is, you can't have both. Here's a truth that most people will never accept. The world doesn't owe you a single thing. Not your parents, not society, not your friends, not your government. Nobody is coming to save you. And nobody cares about your excuses. You think you deserve success because you've struggled, because you've been through pain, because you're a good person. The universe doesn't hand out rewards for suffering. Life is brutally fair in one way. It gives everyone the same thing, time and choice. What you do with them decides everything. But most people waste both, then cry about being unlucky. We live in a world that has convinced people they're victims. Everyone wants to talk about how hard they have it, how unfair life is, how someone else got more. Let me tell you, complaining is the currency of the weak. You can spend your whole life crying about what's unfair, or you can build something despite it. Because the harsh truth is this life doesn't care about your feelings. It only responds to your actions. Winners understand that. Losers keep waiting for someone to notice their pain and fix it. But nobody's coming. You've got to do it yourself. When you realize the world owes you nothing, that's when freedom starts. Because then everything becomes your responsibility. And responsibility is power. If your life sucks, it's on you. If you're broke, it's on you. If you're unhappy, it's on you. The moment you stop blaming the system, your boss, your parents, your past, that's the moment you become unstoppable. Because now you're in control. You can't change what you don't own. And the reason most people never change is because they're too busy pointing fingers. Think about it. Everyone wants the reward, but no one wants the grind. People see a millionaire and call him lucky. They see someone fit and call it genetics. They see success and say, they had help. That's loser language. That's what people say to protect their own ego, because deep down, they know they haven't done enough. They've been lazy, distracted, inconsistent, and it's easier to blame the world than to face that truth. But you can't win with that mindset. The moment you start expecting the world to hand you something, you've already lost. Life doesn't owe you opportunities, you create them. Life doesn't owe you respect, you earn it. Life doesn't owe you happiness, you build it. Every single thing you want requires payment in advance. You pay with time, effort, discipline, sacrifice. That's the price of greatness. And if you're not willing to pay, Don't complain about the results. Because the world doesn't reward wishes, it rewards work. Every hour you waste waiting for a break, someone else is out there creating one. That's why you see people rise from nothing, because they refuse to expect and they chose to execute. And let's get one thing straight, life will always test you. It's not supposed to be easy. You're supposed to get knocked down. You're supposed to fail. That's how you learn what you're made of. But if you see those tests as unfair, you'll stay weak. You'll stay bitter. You'll keep saying, "Why me?" Instead, you've got to say, "Try me." The world's not against you, it's just indifferent. It doesn't care if you win or lose. And that's why you've got to care enough for yourself to fight. Stop expecting comfort, fairness, or understanding. You won't get it. The world is cold, but it's consistent. It gives to those who take. It opens doors for those who knock until their hands bleed. That's the game. And if you don't play it, you'll be crushed by it. Once you accept that nobody owes you anything, you stop waiting, you stop hesitating, you stop needing validation. You start building, moving, creating, taking action. You realize that life's not about what you deserve, it's about what you demand. So stop walking around thinking the world is supposed to hand you success because you want it. Stop thinking you're owed respect because you exist. You earn it every single day through discipline, through resilience, through doing the work when nobody's watching. That's how you win. The world doesn't owe you anything, but it will give you everything if you're willing to fight for it. Everyone talks about wanting freedom, freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of choice. But nobody wants to talk about the one thing that actually creates it: discipline. You can't be free if you can't control yourself. You can't be free if you're a slave to your impulses, your laziness, your emotions. Most people think discipline is a prison, but it's not. Chaos is the prison. Laziness is the prison. Indecision is the prison. Discipline is the key that unlocks all of it. Because once you master yourself, you can master anything. You think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want. That's not freedom. That's weakness disguised as liberty. If you wake up late, skip workouts, waste time scrolling, and justify it by saying, "I'm living life on my terms," you're lying to yourself. You're not in control, your habits are. Freedom isn't about doing less. It's about having the power to do what's necessary, even when you don't feel like it. That's discipline. It's not glamorous, it's not easy, and it's not comfortable. But it's the foundation of every successful life on this planet. Look at any high achiever, any athlete, any millionaire, they all live by discipline. They don't rely on motivation because they know motivation dies the moment things get hard. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care if you're tired, sad, bored, or unmotivated. Discipline says, do it anyway. And that's where true power comes from. Because when you do what needs to be done, no matter how you feel, you build trust with yourself. You stop being your own enemy. You start becoming someone you can depend on. Most people can't trust themselves. They make promises like, "I'll start tomorrow. I'll eat healthy next week. I'll work harder when I'm ready." They break those promises every time, and then they wonder why they have no confidence. Confidence doesn't come from affirmations, it comes from discipline. It comes from proving to yourself over and over again that your word means something. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you get stronger. Every time you break one, you get weaker. Discipline is self-respect, and without it, you'll never win anything worth having. You know what destroys people? Comfort. They don't want to suffer a little now, so they suffer a lot later. They don't want to push through pain today, so they drown in regret tomorrow. Discipline flips that. It's choosing short-term pain for long-term freedom. It's saying no to the easy road because you know it leads nowhere. It's waking up before the world does, training when no one's watching, studying when others are relaxing, saving when others are spending. It's about paying the price now so you can live how others can't later. That's real freedom. Discipline is the bridge between wanting and having. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants respect. Everybody wants to be great. But the gap between wanting and having is filled with discipline, the boring, repetitive, relentless consistency that no one celebrates. And that's why so few people have what they want. Because it's easier to dream than to do. It's easier to talk than to act. It's easier to quit than to persist. But the ones who choose discipline over excuses, they're the ones who rise. And let's be real, discipline hurts. It's supposed to. It's supposed to test you. Every time you push yourself, every time you override your emotions, every time you do something you don't want to do, you're reshaping your character. You're teaching your brain that you're in charge. And once you reach that level of control, no external force can stop you. You become unstoppable because your strength no longer depends on how the world treats you. It depends on how you treat yourself. People say they want freedom, but most don't. They want comfort dressed up as freedom. True freedom is waking up every day knowing that no matter what happens, you'll handle it. True freedom is having control over your time, your thoughts, your reactions. True freedom is knowing that you're the kind of person who can rely on discipline when motivation dies. Discipline is not punishment, it's liberation. Because when you master discipline, you stop being a slave to weakness. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop being controlled by feelings, distractions, and excuses. Discipline makes you dangerous because now you don't need to feel good to perform good. You just execute. Every single person walking this planet is living inside a story. A story they tell themselves about who they are, what they can do, and what they deserve. That story controls everything: your actions, your habits, your future. And here's the problem: most people are living inside a weak story. A story full of excuses, trauma, failure, and fear. They've convinced themselves that they're unlucky, that life's unfair, that success isn't meant for them. They've repeated that story so many times that it's become their reality. You don't live the life you want, you live the story you believe. And if your life sucks right now, it's because your story sucks. You keep saying things like, "I've always been lazy. I can't change. I don't have what it takes." You repeat it until your brain believes it. You wear your past like a name tag, introducing yourself to the world as your failures. But here's the truth: your story is a choice. You can rewrite it at any moment. You're not stuck. You're not doomed. You're not defined by what happened to you. You're defined by what you decide to do next. And that decision starts when you stop letting your old story control your new life. Think about it. How many times have you said, "That's just who I am"? You're not lazy by nature. You've just repeated lazy behavior until it became your identity. You're not unlucky. You've just made weak decisions for too long. You're not unworthy. You've just been surrounded by people who convinced you to settle. The story you tell yourself every morning is shaping your actions. If your story says, "I'm a loser," your brain will find ways to prove it right. If your story says, "I'm unstoppable," your brain will find ways to make that true. You are the author, the director, the main character, but most people are living like extras in their own movie. The world doesn't change for you, you change for the world. And the only way to change is to rewrite the narrative you've been stuck in. Maybe your story so far is full of pain, mistakes, rejection, failure, good. That means you've got material. You've got the chance to write the greatest comeback ever. Every legend started with a broken beginning. Every warrior was once lost. Every champion was once doubted. The difference is they refused to stay in the same chapter. They decided, "This isn't how my story ends." You have to get mad at your old story. You have to get sick of repeating it. You have to reach a point where you say, "I'm done being the victim in my own life." That anger, that frustration, that's the first spark of transformation. Because when you realize that your life is just a reflection of your choices, you stop waiting for rescue and start rewriting your script. You stop using your past as a prison and start using it as a platform. You stop saying, "Why me?" and start saying, "Watch me and listen." Changing your story doesn't happen overnight. You've spent years building your identity through repetition, through habits, through words, through beliefs. You've trained your brain to believe lies about your limits. So now you've got to retrain it. Every time you act differently, every time you choose discipline over comfort, every time you push through when it hurts, you're editing your story. You're erasing weakness and replacing it with strength. You're telling your mind, "This is who I am now." And over time, that new story becomes your truth. The world won't believe in your new story at first. People will still see you as who you were. They'll doubt you, mock you, remind you of your past. Let them. That's their version of your story, not yours. You don't need validation to rewrite your life. You just need action. Because the moment you start living differently, the story starts to change. People can't argue with results. They can't deny transformation. You show them who you are by becoming who you were meant to be. Your story isn't written in stone. It's written in sweat, in effort, in the decisions you make when no one's watching. The pen has always been in your hand, but most people never use it. They let life write for them. They let fear, failure, and other people decide how their story ends. But you have a choice. Either keep rereading the same sad chapter or pick up the pen and write something powerful. Because the only thing standing between who you are and who you could be is the story you keep telling yourself. Your life isn't going to change just because you watched a motivational video or heard some powerful words. It's going to change the moment you decide to stop lying to yourself, stop pretending, and start acting. Everything you want: success, freedom, respect, power, it's all sitting on the other side of your excuses. You have to stop waiting for the right time, because there is no right time. The only time that exists is now. You've got to face your truth. Admit that your comfort zone has become your cage. Admit that your anger, your frustration, your pain, they're not weaknesses, they're fuel. Use them, channel them, turn them into action. The world doesn't care about your reasons or your past. It only respects results. And the only way you'll ever get results is by mastering discipline, rewriting your story, and taking control of your destiny. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to hand you the life you dream of. You have to build it brick by brick through sweat, consistency, and fire. You have to wake up every single day and fight for it, even when you're tired, even when it hurts, even when nobody believes in you. That's what transformation looks like. That's how losers become legends. So if your life sucks right now, good. That means you're awake. That means you feel it. And that means you've got a choice. You can keep pretending, keep complaining, keep hiding behind comfort. Or you can get angry, not at the world, not at others, but at your own weakness, and use that anger to build something unstoppable. Your story isn't over. It's just waiting for you to pick up the pen and write a new chapter 1 where you finally stop existing and start living.